I want to make sure that I acknowledge the sponsor of the show, Tiege Hanley, because Tiege Hanley sent me this new pack. They sent me the new Tiege pack, so I just literally pulled the paper out, got it out of the mail, and I started going through it, and I got a little bit more excited than I should. You know what I'm saying? So they did send me the Tiege pack, and I don't even know what this is yet. So I'm assuming this is what you get when you first order your Tiege, and I don't know what this is. Oh, this is dope. This is absolutely dope. Is this a nail kit? Ladies, get this for the fellas. Fellas, don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. This is free. This just comes with it. 30% off your first order, plus 20% off for life. Literally. Oh, snaps. I didn't know that they were sending it like this. Real talk. So this is the nail kit that they sending you. All right. So now you ain't looking like a dusty. This is a free gift straight from Tiege for the people that ordered the Tiege. They got the small one for the little hands like mine's. They got the big joints for your toenails. And then they got the joints at the bottom too. You know what I'm saying? For y'all that's a little bit more crustier than usual. All right. So that's one of the free gifts that Tiege got inside of the pack. And then what is this? Says squeeze a quarter-size amount of Tiege Hanley body wash on the center of the wet bristles. Lather, scrub, rinse, and repeat for the perfectly satisfying wash every time. So that's inside of there also, right? Ooh, I can get my rubber ducky on right here. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Tiege for sending me that uncomplicated skincare for men. And then what we got in here? We got the actual Tiege pack, right? So this is the normal Tiege pack. But then they gave me the supersized joint for the people. They wanted me to show the people exactly what they got when they ordered that first Tiege pack, when you're getting your 30% off your first order, and then you get your free gifts. You get 2 free gifts, and then the 20% off for life. So the 20% off for life is a new thing. And, dang, I ain't even got my keys on me to open this up. Maybe I can use the little nail clipper thing. I ain't got to buy no nail clipper for my new joint downtown. And then you get all of the washes, all of the scrubs, all of the AM, the PMs, and all of that stuff. So you got the whole thing inside of there for you to make sure you take care of yourself. But you got to make sure you take care of it every day, right? We don't want to miss days. We don't want to be looking like dusties. It does not absolve you from being able to make sure that you brush your teeth. Brush your teeth. It don't fix the teeth problem. Don't fix you ironing your clothes. Don't fix you being able to take care of your business. But it absolutely makes sure that your skin is phenomenal, even when you go in between shaves. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Tiege Hanley. We absolutely appreciate you. Thank you for continuing to hold us down. I might do an official Tiege commercial, but I like just talking authentically to the people. I like giving the people the authentic look of what it is that you're dealing with, and I want you to hear from me personally. Because anybody can do that little pitch and they can make some little videos, but very few of us can actually speak to the products of exactly what it is that you're supposed to use. So yeah, Tiege Hanley, 30% off your first order and then 20% off for life. That's the Anton Daniels pack, 20% off for life. Using any other Tiege pack, make sure that you go ahead and let that go. And make sure you tap into the link. It's in the description and take care of it, all right? What's going on? Is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Thank you for tuning in for another edition of the Millionaire Morning Show. I'm your host, Anton Daniels. Let me give myself a round of applause. Because I spent the afternoon yesterday before I headed back to my place. I spent the afternoon yesterday making sure that I fixed every single possibility of muting myself going forward in the future. So if you see me mute myself, then it is a self-inflicted wound. It is not a disconnection. It's not because, any of that. I got my whole setup right. I decided that I wanted to keep this setup for an extended period of time. I actually like it. I like this whole aesthetic. I like the desk that I got right now. I got the raise up and going down desk. I got my work computer over there. And so we good. So I did forget to do some of the super chats apparently from yesterday, or not the super chats, but cash apps from yesterday. So I'm definitely going to acknowledge that. But Hopefully, you guys don't see any more self-inflicted wounds when it comes to me muting myself. Did you guys enjoy the show yesterday? Let me give myself a round of applause for the live stream that I did yesterday. I hope you guys enjoyed the live stream that we did yesterday. It was pretty cool. It was awesome. And I appreciate Bianca for showing up. And for the people that tapped in on the Anton Daniels channel, what up to my dog Slimmy? I see Kate Cooper. I see Big Suggs, sister in the building. Vanessa, Kojo. Everybody that's watching this, everybody that's watching it that never types in the chat, I'm cool with that too. Because I know we got a lot of people in the clouds. Even shout out to the hate watchers. You know, hate is just as profitable as love. A lot of people don't realize that. Oh, that's a deep one. I ain't even going to go into that because I think I need to do that as a whole nother video. Hate is just... That's correct. I wrote that down. Hate can be just as profitable as love because, to be honest with you, it takes more hate. It takes more energy to hate than it do to love, but at the same time, both of them equal the same amount of watch time and views. Both of them equal the same. I'd rather have somebody that regularly hate watch than passively show up occasionally. I'd rather have somebody that regularly hate watches because hate is just as profitable as love, if not more. If not more. I call it the Mayweather effect. Just as many people, if not more, tuned in to see Mayweather lose than to see him win and to root him on. They didn't show up for the opponent. They didn't care about who he was fighting. They wanted him to lose, and so they was banking on the person to eventually knock him out. And so y'all got, listen, as content creators, as business people, it could be just as profitable, if not more profitable, for people that don't like you than people that like you, because you know the people that don't like you are going to be regularly invested in what you got going on because they can't wait for you to lose. And so you throw them a bone, you give them some acknowledgement from here on out so that they don't just lose interest and say, it'll never work. You want to make sure that you keep them invested in what you got going on. Because remember this, especially for content creators, remember this. If you not talking about them, but they are talking about you, then that means that you winning and you successful and you staying in the algorithm. You know what I'm saying? That means that they have to continue to bring you into their sphere in order to even be profitable. They got to bring you into their sphere to be profitable. So stop complaining about people that don't like you. Stop complaining about people that don't like. Don't complain when you get a hate comment. Don't remove the comments. Just continue to roll with it. Roll with it, embrace it, and monetize it. That's the key. Don't run from it, run to it, and then monetize it. I think this might be the best month that I ever had. I think that this, honestly, listen, the best month that I had prior to this one was, I think it was like March or April, or it was sometime like in spring, summer 2023. And we consistently stay, and I show you guys inside of the Bag Chasers and the Patreon. I show you guys my numbers. I show you my deposits. You know what it is that I make, all of that. So I'm completely transparent on that. So you already know this. But for the people that don't know, the biggest month that I've ever had was like 110,000 just between two channels. 110,000 just between two channels. That's the biggest month that I've ever had. Let me see if I can pull that up. It's the easiest way to pull this up. AdSense. And that's just with AdSense alone. Open up that account. That's the biggest month that I've ever had is 110,000. Like 109 and change, something like that. Payments info. And I was only with two channels. AdSense, YouTube, 2023, previous year. Yep, 109, 400. A lot of people are already familiar with this. But 109, 400 was the biggest month that I ever had. That is absolutely positively correct. Yep. And guess what? That was the month that everybody thought that they was holding me accountable. That was the month that everybody thought that they was holding me accountable for not standing against, not standing against Pearl. I was like, hell no. Why would I ever stand against Pearl? Me and Pearl is cool. Pearl is helping me run up a bag. And this month is probably the second biggest month. Now it's actually trending towards being an even bigger month than then. That is correct. Yep. This is the biggest month that I ever had on YouTube between those two channels in particular. So that was March 31st, the month of March 1st through 31st. I don't know if it was from the previous month or the month of that. Yep. But that is the biggest month that I had. But this month is trending towards being much, much larger if I keep up the same pace just between those two channels alone. So y'all got to remember, listen, when they doing what they do, they actually working in your benefit. They working in your favor. Don't worry about what other people are saying. Figure out how you can leverage it for your benefit and figure out how you can monetize it. It's not about whether or not people are mad at you. You got to remember, these people don't see you in real life. I was riding my bike in the streets yesterday before I came back and I did my live stream. And I ran into at least 6 different people that was like, what up, Anton? Oh, man, I seen the video of you getting kicked out of the casino. Oh, man, I seen you on this. I seen you on that. One person gave me a shirt. I told him I'm going to wear a shirt, but I'm going to wear it. I can't wear it today, but I'm going to wear a shirt and I'm going to give him a shout out. He gave me some clothes. Some people gave me some clothes. One person gave me a mug. I wound up having to go into the grocery store or the little store, the little market over there. Then I wound up having to get a bag just to be able to carry all of the stuff that people gave me on my way to the crib. So the love is real. I experience 0 people that notice me from the internet and says, oh man, I want to. Ain't nobody doing none of that. It's chill. It's love. So just make sure that y'all leverage that. Make sure that y'all leverage the hate in any capacity, not just from content creation, but all across the board. All right. Yeah, the channels do be lit. Let me read some of these super chats. I'm going to read the Cash Apps and then we're going to continue on with the show. All right. We got over almost 8,200 bag chasers. Hold on. Let me look at the bag chaser numbers. How much hate could it possibly be if over 8,200 people are saying we rock with you? We rock with you direct to consumer. We rock with you direct to consumer. How much hate could it possibly be? You know what I'm saying? Let's see. Get my bag chaser numbers. 8156. We got 8,156 chasers now. 8,000. I can't wait to see y'all in Houston. I can't wait to see y'all in Houston. Y'all need to see all of that information. 8,156 chasers. Shout out to the 8,156 chasers. That's a part of the bag chasers. That's a part of the Patreon. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. I love my people. I can't wait to see y'all in Houston. I'm going to be in Houston on the 27th. Next weekend. Not this weekend. Next weekend. I'm going to be in Houston on the 27th. It is going to be an absolute positive hoot of a time. And I see hundreds of people are going to be attending. Your favorite rapper can't even sell out a venue, but we're going to be in Houston running it up. All right? Shout out to y'all. Somebody says my lighting looks off in part of the studio. No, I'm just looking at the sun. The sun is over there. And then this is the other part of the studio. And so it's going to be pretty dope. All right, y'all. Let me acknowledge the Cash Apps first. Shout out to Dylan O'Main. Dylan O'Main says, thanks for the knowledge that you dropped. It's really love. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you, Dylan. Mike, that dude, is always pulling up and showing love. Christopher Donaldson says, we don't want these people down in Texas raising our prices. Too late. Too late. People from California is going to be moving to Texas, and they're going to be running up the bag. Shout out to you. I appreciate you. My dog, Chris James, I appreciate you. Says, great show. It'll be great to see you in Houston. I'm pulling up. I'm pulling up. I'm pulling up. I'm pulling up. Thank you, CJ Investing. Shout out to my girl sister. Yo plus one can't come. That ain't got nothing to do with you. That ain't got nothing to do with you. You still need to be showing up. If your plus one can't pull up, then take some pictures and some video and then show it to them later about the time that they missed and then say, make sure you pull up to the next city. You know what I'm saying? Let me acknowledge a couple of the super chats and we're going to get started with the show. P. Rothstein is in the building, says, what up, Anton? I'll be in Detroit all day working. I have an event tonight at the Madison. What's happening at the Madison? I love Detroit, even though I live in Cleveland. Shout out to P. Rothstein. What's happening at the Madison? Let me see what's happening at the Madison. What's happening at the Madison today? Is it for rock events? I wonder what's happening at the Madison today. I don't know. Anyways, let me know what's happening at the Madison. You never know. Time Dog could pull up. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to P. I appreciate you, Big P, in the building. Also, my girl Molly is in the building. Shout out to Molly. Says she got that super sticker for me. Thank you, Molly. I appreciate you, baby. And thank you for also showing up on the panels. Miss T. Jones says, good morning. People been hating on me since the 90s. And guess what? You still here. You still here. My dog Slimmy in the building says, sorry, Molly, this is why I shouldn't be too long. Shouldn't be on this early in the morning. Shout out to Molly. Shout out to Molly, all in the drink. She ain't even know it. Chris J says, 8,156 chasers. Salute to you. I'll see you next week. Hey, Chris, he be pulling up too. Shout out to Chris, my dog. I appreciate you. All right, y'all. Y'all ready to get started with the show? Make sure y'all get that Tiege Hanley 40% off your first order plus 20% off of life. That link is in the description. We got after hours tonight. Make sure y'all join the Patreon. The Bag Chasers link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Let's get to it. All right, y'all know what we do, man. Y'all know we got Quick Hits popping off. Quick Hits is a segment of the show that we don't necessarily think that we got to, talk extensively in its own segment about each individual thing, but we definitely want to keep y'all up to date on what's going on out in these streets, man. All right, I'm going to be reading that super chat. Thank you, JPZ. Too cool. First things first, the church's chicken shooter is asking that the case be thrown out. Check it out.
And the woman accused of a fatal shooting at a church's chicken went back in front of a judge this Wednesday morning. Monica Williams is charged with first-degree murder for the fatal shooting that claimed the life of Anitra West. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Stephanie Skurlock.
And I'm Greg Hurst. Following the attack, photos of the accused were released by police as they were trying to arrest her. Although the woman was seen on video, the defense is saying that may not be enough to move forward. WRG's Dorita Patterson explains.
This lady looked like one of my aunties. She looked like my auntie. She looked like Cora. Shout out Aunt Cora. Where Aunt Cora at? Let me call Cora. See how she doing. She looked just like my Aunt Cora. I don't even know if Cora even got this number. Let me see what she's talking about. You know, Anton get distracted.
Your call has been forwarded to.
Damn, Cora don't even like Time Dog no more. Let me see. She sent me direct to the thing. This is Anton. I ain't called Cora since I got this new number. Anyways, let's continue.
Explains why her attorney is trying to get the case thrown out.
Monica Williams, a first-degree murder suspect, was escorted back into Judge Bill Anderson's courtroom Wednesday. The 45-year-old spoke briefly with her attorney,
so
Scott
much different than
Holmes.
when she had that purple hair.
She is accused of shooting to death a
Look at Cora calling me back. See that my family love me. Hey, what's going on?
Hey, that's right. Identify yourself.
Oh, you ain't got, yeah, I had to change my number because it hit the internet.
Oh, wow. Okay, I'm gonna save this.
Yeah, I was just calling to check on you. I seen a lady that looked like you. I'm like, let me call Auntie. How you doing?
Hi, I'm doing good. I'm doing really good. Miss you. I see Rita every now and then. She comes through.
Yeah, I'm going to fly down there and I'm going to come down there probably next month.
Oh, good. Yep, good. We'll be we're going to Andre's birthday in Vegas.
Oh yeah, I see y'all
So
there. I'll be there.
Oh, good, good. Yep,
Yep.
Mama's going too.
Yep, I'll be there. All right, let me call you right back. I just wanted to call and check
Okay.
in with you.
Oh, nice talking to you.
All right, bye.
Okay, bye.
Family love time, dog. Let's go. Y'all family don't even like y'all. My family can't wait for me to call. You know what I'm saying?
Nature West, while the victim was at work at this Church's Chicken in Orange Mound last week. This all stemmed from an argument detectives explained in this affidavit. However, her attorney says is what you don't see in the report that he could capitalize on.
Reviewing the affidavit, I haven't seen any list of witnesses on this case, so we may be also making a motion to dismiss.
This case has garnered a lot of attention, sitting 5 rows away from Williams were half a dozen of her family members. Williams, who has mostly appeared unemotional, could be seen wiping away tears before pulling down her mask, smiling, mouthing words, and finally giving her family an okay hand gesture. But District Attorney Steve Mulroy says nothing about this case is okay.
Ordinary disputes, ordinary beefs that would have just been at most a shoving match are now fatal. And it means we need tougher gun laws, but it also needs we to be extra vigilant on bringing these people to justice.
Mulroy also addressed the defense's claim about any...
Don't she look different? Don't she look different right there than when she was in that courtroom? It's crazy.
Possible lack of witnesses.
It is not unusual for us to get convictions based on video surveillance evidence, even if there are no actual live witnesses.
As you heard Defense Attorney Hall say, he may move to have this case dismissed, but the operative word there is may. That has yet to be seen. What we do know for sure is the bond hearing is set to happen inside this courtroom Monday. We'll certainly keep you updated. Reporting for your news leader inside the CJC, Jarita Patterson, WREG, News Channel 3.
I can't wait to see what the details of this case is, because 2 unhinged women, one that went outside and then got her life taken by another unhinged woman, is crazy. It's absolutely insane. But anyways, that's what's going on in that case. They moving to get it dismissed. Probably won't, obviously. The court of public opinion ain't even going to have that. In addition to that, a police officer, a Chicago Police Department lieutenant, is relieved of his police powers because of this.
But first, a Chicago police lieutenant relieved of his police powers after a shocking confrontation caught on camera.
Our Tia Ewing spoke with the man who recorded it. Tia.
Well, Scott and Dawn, this officer was off duty when all of this unfolded. I did speak to the man who recorded the video. He doesn't want his entire name out there in fear of retaliation, but we did do some digging and we found out this isn't the first time this officer has been accused of wrongdoing. A racial slur hurled during a heated argument Friday, July 12th. The man in the blue used the N-word. He got into another altercation with someone else on the same night on this downtown Chicago rooftop. This time, the person he was arguing with identified him as a police officer. Behind the cell phone video recording is Raheem. He confronted the man on the spot.
That ain't funny, bro. Ain't you a police officer?
That's not 2 confrontations. That's not two different ones. That's one person that recorded it. The second person is the person that recorded it that ultimately wanted to get more footage and wanted to get a close-up of him because he knew he was a police officer. And so he then went up to him and with the camera and he said, "Ain't you a cop, man?"
Me, dude. Yeah.
Days later, Raheem posted the video on Instagram, garnering thousands of views and an investigation.
I ain't really know how to react because it's like, I know they're the police and he not talking to me, but it's still affecting me. So it had me feeling like in a weird position. It's like I'm upset and I didn't know how to like direct my anger.
The Civilian Office of Police Accountability is investigating the incident and Lieutenant Andrew DeCurris. He's a 29-year veteran on the force.
They need to actually pay attention to the complaints made, pay attention to the officers they have. Because these are people that's arresting our communities.
It's not the first time DeCurris has been in the headlines. This is from our website in 2021, stemming from a federal jury finding that DeCurris used excessive force when a man was tackled and beaten during Cubs World Series celebrations in 2016. The man was awarded more than $50,000. At that time, DeCurris had 73 complaints against him. DeCurris' police history hasn't all been marred by turmoil. In 2019, video shows he was honored alongside 2 other officers for rescuing a woman who was under attack.
So I feel like they need to actually do something.
Well, the Chicago police, they did confirm for us that DeCurris was relieved of his police powers on July 16th, pending the outcome now of this investigation.
Well, that's what happens nowadays. Everybody got a camera, everybody got a phone, and so you got to be careful of what you do and what you do it around, aside from the fact that you are off duty. It doesn't matter, because what you do basically is, nowadays, it can spill over into what you do for a living, because the character part of it plays a role in whether or not you should hold that position or not. And then last but not least, I kind of spoke about this briefly yesterday with regard to Elon Musk pulling out of California altogether as far as SpaceX, formerly known as Twitter, and then he already pulled Tesla out of California. But Gavin Newsom recently signed a law, as well as the California legislators, signing a law that basically saying that you can't force a student to basically tell their parents what the teachers are now identifying them as inside of the classrooms. Take a look.
A new first-of-its-kind law in California has many people talking. The so-called Safety Act was inspired by policy in the Chino Valley Unified School District.
It prohibits schools from enforcing policies that force out LGBTQ students. NBC4's Karma Dickerson has details on the pushback against this law.
You're in Sacramento, proposing things that pervert children.
The state of California has passed a new law to end this heated debate about whether school districts should be required to tell parents if their students identify as a different gender while at school.
Forcing schools to out children, you will serve only to ensure that students experiencing gender dysphoria who don't feel they have a support system at home will continue to suffer in silence.
What is gender dysphoria? Let's look it up. We don't mind doing research on this channel. Look at Anton knowing how to spell. Gender dysphoria is a feeling of discomfort or distress that might occur in people whose gender identities differ from their sex assigned at birth. So it's basically saying that if you're a boy and you feel like a girl, and then you're feeling some stress as a result of it, then, and that was the gender that you, and that was the gender that you were assigned at birth, not what you were born biologically, but because you feel different, you might believe that the doctor wrongly mislabeled you as a baby. And so if you feel like your gender was assigned wrong at birth, and then you bothered by that, then you could be, literally labeled to have or be diagnosed with gender dysphoria. Transgender and gender diverse people might experience gender dysphoria at some point in their lives. So that is the definition. That is the definition of gender dysphoria according to Google. Let's continue.
New law known as the Safety Act would prevent schools from enacting policies that require employees to reveal any information about a student's sexual orientation or gender identity without their consent, including to their parents.
I didn't even know that kids had choices. I didn't even know that they had the ability to be able to consent to anything. I thought that kids was kids and you do what the parents and the adults tell you to do. But, it's a different time. I understand that 2024 is much different than it was in 1982 when I was born. Which was one of the reasons why I was even trying to figure out whether I wanted to bring a child into this world in the first place. But neither here nor there. Let's continue.
Is that right now, any school district, and there have been only a few in California, that wants to enact a policy locally to forcibly out kids shall be invalidated.
Assemblymember Chris Ward, representing San Diego, introduced the now law.
Nothing in that school district policy should require that teacher to automatically convey information that the students may not be ready to share.
The move by the legislature came in response to policies like the one Chino Valley Unified School District passed last July, requiring schools and teachers to inform parents if their student indicates they're changing their gender identity. For example, requesting to be called by a different name or pronouns. Before the new law was passed, California Attorney General Rob Bonta sued Chino Valley Unified over their policy. But yesterday, the Liberty and Justice Center, who represents Chino Valley in this matter, sued over the new law.
So we are alleging that this law violates the 14th Amendment, and it also violates the First Amendment right to free exercise of religion.
Standing California law prevents students from changing their name or their gender on their official school record without parental consent. And federal law guarantees parents access to their students' records. The letter of California's new law, the Safety Act, does not change that.
I'm always wondering why it's so important for them to fight for this. We have cities that are going bankrupt, police departments that are understaffed and underfunded, crime running rampant, criminals being released from prison with only a third of their sentence served, and then going out and reoffending and taking somebody's life. Budgets that are blowing out of control, bad spending, wars that's happening overseas, communities that are desperate for resources and reinvestment, infrastructure that's completely falling apart. But the fight that we're having in a lot of these places, including the most in California, is whether or not you should be required or whether or not you should be prevented. That's the better word to say. Whether you should be prevented from letting the parents know that John want to be called Jane inside of the classroom, and that they act different and they feel different. I thought that parents or teachers was an extension of the parents once the teacher takes control of the child in the, while they're in school. I'm amazed. But ladies and gentlemen, that is your quick hits. All right. Let me read some of these super chats and then we're going to continue over with the show. G Peasy, too cool, says, good morning, Anton and chat bag chasers. Just dropping a little something inside of the collection plate. Shout out to my dog, J Peasy, too cool. I appreciate you. Mr. Joe says, supporting the platform. Thank you, Mr. Joe. We never asked for it, but we always like to acknowledge the people that support the platform. Skinny boy Django Morris says, third time super chatting because why do you still mess with just pearly things? P.S. I actually like her because she's never done anything negative to me. So I don't pick and choose my friends based off of the court of public opinion or what the internet think. I pick and choose the people that I rock with, whether or not my own personal interaction with them. And so Pearl has been a great asset to me. She's made me a lot of money. She's never offended me. She's always been a nice person to me. And we've connected and collaborated and we've talked on the phone several different times. So what do you mean? Why do I still mess with her? Because she cool for me. I might do a live stream with her just to piss a lot of these people off. Not you, skinny boy, because apparently you like her, but because Pearl is cool for me. JC said, I bet he's not offended when a black person uses it. Well, that's a term of endearment. When a black person calls another black person a derogatory term or what they label as a slur, it generally becomes a term of endearment. It's almost like a black woman that calls another black woman a bitch. It's a term of endearment for a lot of them. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, let's continue on with the show. Let's get to it, y'all. We got a lot to cover today. So we're going back to the Republican National Convention. We got a lot to cover. We got to go over D.L. Hughley. A man is saying that $30 an hour is the new broke. We got to get over to J.D. Vance. He had a full speech last night. Nancy Pelosi is pushing Biden to get out. She's telling him that he can't win. And so it's a lot to cover today. And so we got to get to it. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm. Subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. This is Greg Abbott's speech yesterday at the Republican National Convention. Let's get into it, y'all. That's my governor, Governor Wheelchair. I like Greg Abbott, Professor X in the building.
Thank y'all very much.
I think I might go to the Democratic National Convention next month. I got to check and see what my schedule is like. What if Greg Abbott could actually walk, but then his powers The powers that he used takes away from his ability to be able to walk. But if he wanted to relinquish his powers, I'm sorry, that's a whole X-Men movie. Let's continue.
Thank y'all very much. Thank y'all very much. Come on, let's go. As governor of the largest border state, the great state of Texas, I can tell you, America needs a president who will secure our border. America needs Donald J. Trump. The president's most sacred duty is to secure our country. Donald Trump fulfilled that duty by eliminating illegal immigration. Under President Trump, we had the lowest illegal border crossings in about 4 decades.
I will say this, and again, I got to be objective. I have to be objective. We had some of the lowest border crossings, but that was started with Obama. Smartly enough, Trump carried forth the same policies and the same perspective. The one thing that I will say, though, is Trump got way more pushback. They said that they wouldn't help him build no walls. They wasn't going to give any more money over to Homeland Security or the Border Patrol agents and stuff like that. So Trump did do a better job because he had more opposition during the time that he was actually fighting for the security of our country by making sure that we had safer borders. But he did carry forth a lot of the same principles and policies that Obama got a pass for. He got a lot more criticism as a result of it also, though.
By contrast, however, Joe Biden deserted his duty.
Absolutely, 100%.
On his first day in office, he gutted President Trump's policies.
Let's be clear. He didn't just gut President Trump's policies, he gutted. And the reason why this context matters, I'm glad that you guys are here. The reason that this context matters is because he didn't just gut President Trump's policies, he gutted Obama's policies also. He did not just gut President Trump's policies with regard to border control and patrolling and making sure that we kept our border safe. He also gutted his Trump's predecessor's policies also, just because it was popular to do to spite Trump. And what he did was he basically shot himself in the foot. I believe that Biden would have a much, much greater chance of being elected president of the United States of America. Much greater. I don't think that he would win, but I think that he would have a much greater chance had he simply prevented illegal immigration from coming into this country and made sure that they got in through the way that they are supposed to get in as far as the rule of law. If he had just secured our borders at the very least and had carried forth the same policies that Trump carried forth that came from Obama before him and implemented the laws that were already on the books, he would probably have a much greater chance. But that thing alone, in addition to all of the other stuff that was bad as far as what's going on in the economy and the fact that he seems to be showing early signs of dementia, was his undoing.
And the result has been catastrophic. Under Joe Biden, illegal immigration has skyrocketed. Under his watch, around 11 million immigrants have crossed our border illegally.
That's just Texas.
That's more than the entire population of Michigan. It's twice the population of Wisconsin. Biden has welcomed into our country rapists, murderers, even terrorists. And the price that we have paid has been deadly. Among the many victims was 12-year-old Jocelyn from Houston, Texas. raped, and murdered by 2 illegal immigrants.
And that can't happen because the same vigor that we have when it comes to an American being killed overseas, Trump allegedly said that if one person got killed upon their exit from Afghanistan, that he would literally blow up everybody's houses that was in leadership at that time based off of who he was having a conversation with. One American, one hair on my chinny chin chin get touched, everybody going out. And so we've largely stood on the idea that one of us getting hurt, all of us are hurt. And so we should never implement a policy where even one person is going to suffer as a result of it. But now, for whatever reason, we feel as though we need to make sacrifices. And we knew that there was going to be sacrifices as long as you allowing for people to come in here unvetted. It's one thing for something to happen, but you didn't know that it was going to happen. But it's another thing for it to happen, understanding the type of people that you're letting in here that comes along with people that are pretending to be seeking asylum. That's on your watch. That then becomes your responsibility. You then have to take ownership of what happened. If that happens on your watch, but you could have prevented it and you knew that you could have prevented it, whose shoulders does that fall on? Or is it okay? Is it okay because you still have an agenda to push?
She's one of thousands whose lives have been destroyed by Joe Biden's open border policies. To make matters even worse, Biden is even fighting tooth and nail to stop Texas and other Republican states from securing our own borders.
And we covered that all year long. We've been covering that for a year and a half straight.
I deployed thousands of National Guard soldiers to build hundreds of miles of razor wire barriers. Give it up for our National Guard.
I wouldn't mind Greg Abbott being president at some point, too.
When Joe Biden ordered to cut that razor wire, I ordered the National Guard to triple the razor wire on the border.
Welcome to everybody that's just getting in here.
Biden took 50 acres of Texas border property to illegally process up to 5,000 illegal immigrants a day. I directed the Texas National Guard to take back our land and wire it shut. Now, there's no longer 5,000 people crossing the border like there was under Joe Biden. Now that the National Guard wired that shut, on average, there is one illegal immigrant crossing the border at that location a day. When Joe Biden and Kamala Harris refused to even come to Texas and to see the border crisis that they created, I took the border to them. I began busing illegal immigrants to Washington, D.C.
That was the smartest move. That was one of the best chess moves that I've ever seen a politician make. Okay, well then since you want to fight me because we are at the front lines, of what's happening as far as all of this illegal immigration into the country, and it's affecting us the most, what I'm going to do is allocate a huge portion of the budget, since Californians want to come over here and bring their dollars over here. I'm going to allocate a huge portion of the budget to sharing the pain. And then you know what Democrats did in these sanctuary cities? They said, oh, listen, we ain't tripping about that. We willing to rock out. We a sanctuary city. We going to welcome them off the bus. Eric Adams was clapping at the bus stop when they were busing them up to New York until they started to realize, we made a mistake. Denver, Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, Washington, Atlanta, Boston was hiding them inside of the airport. Then they wanted to get mad, and then Brandon Johnson started calling Greg Abbott the devil. I wish I had that clip loaded up. I haven't watched the speech yet, Brandon Johnson started calling Greg Abbott the devil because he didn't like the fact that he was sending them up there and they were sharing in the pain. Okay, well, since y'all now want me to be a border state, then everybody can be a border state. Once they over here, they coming everywhere. That was the greatest chess move that I've seen from any governor. And I actually think that Trump need to be sending Greg Abbott a thank you letter to helping him get elected because he did this. Because the people in Chicago and all of these other cities start feeling the pain.
And we continue busing migrants to sanctuary cities across the entire country. And those buses will continue to roll until we finally secure our border. Fortunately, I see hope on the horizon. Because on November the 5th, Joe Biden will be fired. And Donald Trump will once again become the President of the United States of America. He will enforce the immigration laws. He will fight the Mexican drug cartels. And he will arrest the criminal illegal immigrants and put them behind bars. Or send them back. It is time to restore order at the border. It is time to rid our streets of crime and chaos. It is time to secure our nation by returning Donald Trump as President of the United States of America.
I think that Greg Abbott is by far the best governor in the country. I think that the worst governor in the country, conversely, on the other end of the spectrum, is Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom is the worst, and that's why California is fumbling and floundering. And Greg Abbott is clearly head and shoulders above every other governor in the nation, including Big Gretch here in Michigan. Somebody said it in the chat. They said that she threw on some Cartier glasses and then everybody started. Man, it's so dumb. So stupid. We are so easily finessed with little politics and little Cartier frames. Oh, man, she threw on some Cardis just like they do buffs in Detroit. What's that? And then everybody started endearing themselves to her. Throw on a trinket or two. Street's still effed up. Throw on a trinket or two. And we rocking. Anyways, let me read a couple of the super chats. And then we're going to continue over with the show. DJ Ace Production in the building says, good morning, class. Roll call. Jamal Park says, can you do a Patreon on your 8 streams of income? I absolutely can. I'm actually looking to give up one of them in order to increase another one, but that's another part of the video. I'll do that. Absolutely. That could be the next video. Skinny Boy says, 4th super chat, I didn't understand why you didn't want any more kids, but now I do. Man, this country is, this world is absolutely going to S-H-I. But we going to get there. All right, y'all. Thank y'all for the super chats. Thank y'all for continuing to hold me down. Let's continue. J.D. Vance, who is now the running mate of Trump to become Vice President of the United States of America, gave his speech. And I want to go over that. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's get there. Good, I got me an Indian girl.
United States, best world.
Yeah. First of all, aren't I a lucky guy? Isn't she lovely? Isn't it amazing?
People don't understand the power of having a woman by your side, especially when it comes to endearing yourself to the general public. If you are in any position of power, whether you're running for a political seat or you are leveraging your spouse in order to get higher in corporate America, or you want to reach a larger demographic of people on social media. Do not underestimate the power of having a woman by your side. It absolutely, positively is a cheat sheet, even if you are mad and you are bothered by the fact that you don't necessarily like women and you want to be red-pilled and all of that stuff. Do not underestimate the power of having a woman by your side and being able to leverage that visibility in order to become more successful. It works, trust me.
Greetings, Milwaukee. My fellow Americans and my fellow Republicans, my name is J.D. Vance from the great state of Ohio. Tonight, here, so my friends, tonight is a night of hope, a celebration of what America once was, and with God's grace, what it will soon be again. Reminder of the sacred duty we have to preserve the American experiment, to choose a new path for our children and grandchildren. But as we meet tonight, we cannot forget that this evening could have been so much different. Instead of a day of celebration, this could have been a day of heartache and mourning. For the last 8 years, President Trump has given everything he has to fight for the people of our country. He didn't need politics.
I'm skipping through all of the claps.
But the country needed him.
I'm doing well, Cyrus.
Now, prior to running for president, he was one of the most successful businessmen in the world. He had everything anyone could ever want in a life. And yet, instead of choosing the easy path, he chose to endure abuse, slander, and persecution. And he did it because he loves this country. I want all Americans to go and watch the video of a would-be assassin coming a quarter of an inch from taking his life. Consider the lies they told you about Donald Trump, and then look at that photo of him, defiant, fist in the air, when Donald Trump rose to his feet in that Pennsylvania field. All of America stood with him.
One of the greatest photos of our lifetime. That's for sure. One of the greatest photos of our lifetime.
For our country, to fight for America. Even in his most perilous moment, we were on his mind. His instinct was for us, for our country, to call us to something higher, to something greater, to once again be citizens who ask what our country needs of us. Now consider what they said. They said he was a tyrant. They said he must be stopped at all costs. But how did he respond? He called for national unity, for national calm, literally right after an assassin nearly took his life. He remembered the victims of the terrible attack, especially the brave Corey Compertori, who gave his life to protect his family. President Trump flew to Milwaukee and got back to work. Now, that's the man I've gotten to know personally over the last few years. He is tough, and he is, but he cares about people. He can stand defiant against an assassin one moment and call for national healing the next. He is a beloved father and grandfather, and of course, a once-in-a-generation business leader. He's the man who is feared by America's adversaries, but 2 nights ago, and I'll share a moment, said goodnight to his 2 boys, told them he loved them, and made sure to give each of them a kiss on the cheek. And I will say, Don and Eric squirmed the same way my 4-year-old does when his daddy tries to give him a kiss on the cheek. Sorry, guys. He is all those things, but tonight we celebrate he is our once and future President of the United States of America.
It's a good speech, expected, but a decent speech.
I want to respond to his call for unity myself. We have a big tent in this party on everything from national security to economic policy. But my message to you, my fellow Republicans, is we love this country and we are united to win.
I have never seen a Republican Party this united than I have now. And it's almost like they went through a storming phase to get to the norming phase. And if anybody is familiar with corporate America, the storming and norming phase, that is the Republican Party largely rejected MAGA and Trump initially when he first hit the scene, when he was advocating for and campaigning for becoming President of the United States of America. And it's not until almost 8 years later, thank you, young Haiti, I'm going to be reading that super chat shortly. It's not until almost 8 years later that they got through that storming phase and they're in the norming phase. And now you see the Democratic Party completely in shambles and they're starting to reject each other. But we're going to get there in a second.
Right.
Somebody said, let me read this super chat. It says, talk about how you hated him, then flipped the script, my guy, then flip-flop guy. Listen, it's a lot of people that you don't necessarily rock with or you don't agree with when you first see them. I say it all the time. I reserve the right to change my mind. Sometimes I'm wrong. Sometimes when I first seen Trump hit the scene and I thought that he was just doing it for marketing purposes, and he didn't really believe that he could win the United States of America presidency, I was wrong. I was absolutely wrong. I was wrong in thinking that some of the people that I voted for back in the day and Obama had my best interests at heart. I was wrong. I flip-flopped the other way on some of the people that I voted for in previous years. And so the same way that you can flip when it comes to somebody then being the best candidate, because you realize as you age and as you get older and as you become more mature that you had the wrong perspective about what it meant to be in this particular party in general, the same way that we flipped from our parents and they told us to continue to vote a certain type of way for the rest of our lives just because we black, is the same way that we flip-flop when it comes to some of the people that did some of the worst things to us. If y'all flipped and flip-flopped on y'all parents and then held them accountable for creating a space that allowed for you to be in a position that you in today as far as the negativity that you experiencing, maybe we would have a better society because then they would hold themselves accountable and then you can go on to have better children and break generational curses. But see, there's nothing wrong with getting new information and changing your mind. The problem that we have in this society is that people remain steadfast just so they can stay down. They want to hold on to the code. And that code gonna have you broke, dusty, and being a single parent and having somebody take over your jobs and the opportunities that you once had because you're not evolving and you're not changing in your thinking and your mindset.
It's actually make us stronger. That's what I've learned in my time in the United States Senate, where sometimes I persuade my colleagues and sometimes they persuade me. And my message to my fellow Americans, those watching from across the country, is shouldn't we be governed by a party that is unafraid to debate ideas and come to the best solution? That's the Republican Party of the next 4 years, united in our love for this country and committed to free speech and the open exchange of ideas. And so tonight, Mr. Chairman, I stand here humbled, and I'm overwhelmed with gratitude to say I officially accept your nomination to be Vice President of the United States of America.
I think that it's a great speech. Maybe I'll do a whole live stream over the weekend to break it down completely. Shout out to sister. I love you. You said that you're feeling much better. I love that. Let me give a round of applause to my girl sister. Everybody always want to say how wrong you are, but very few people can actually speak to exactly what you're wrong about. I don't know how many times, and you guys have witnessed it yourselves. I can't tell you how many days, literally thousands of different live streams to where I've dropped the link. Don't worry about it. We back. Had a little bit of a connection issue. Had to switch over to a different one. Got some things installed in place just to make sure. You might experience a little bit of buffering, but we back here. But I don't know how many different times I've made myself available to people to hold me accountable, and they fail to do so. Most of you people are just in your feelings. You're just in your emotions, you and your feelings. Most of the time, people that are in their feelings, they can't make a logical decision. I'll do you one even better. Most of the people that rock with me today, a lot of them didn't even rock with me when they first discovered me, but they stuck around long enough to realize that I'm right. And not only am I right, I'm going to help you get to a bag. Not only am I right, I'm going to help you to be successful. Not only am I right, but I'm going to help you to become a better father. I'm going to help you become a better husband. I'm going to help you to become a better wife. I'm going to help you to become a better sister. I'm going to help you to become a better saint. The saints. It's the saints. The saints are the ones that are persecuted for righteousness' sake, meaning that we understand that out of your ignorance, you're going to persecute us, or you're going to say that we're wrong, but in reality, we know that we're right. And because we're willing to stay steadfast. Is the sound going in and out? Is everything good? We got audio problems. Audio was no good. Let's see if we can fix that. Give me a second.
I got you.
Good now? Is the audio back? We good now? I just cut off my my mixer in order to get us back good. Are we good with our audio? Tree said we good. All right, cool. Yes, sir. We good on the audio now? We good? We back in the mix? Just want to make sure that we all good. All right, cool. All right, y'all, let's go ahead and move over into the next segment of the show. I appreciate y'all for continuing to hold me down. If I had any super chats, I didn't have the opportunity to do it because when I lost my connection and I had to redo it, the software wouldn't let me see it. So I appreciate y'all for continuing to hold me down. All right, y'all, let's go over into the next thing. So the next thing that we want to address is Nancy Pelosi. Are we still in and out? You sure? We still in and out? All right, hold on. Let me see if I can fix that. Give me a second. Why is people saying it's still in and out? Some people saying it's good. Some people saying it's still in and out. No audio. Testing, 1, 2. Testing, 1, 2. Testing, 1, 2. Testing, 1, 2. A lot of people saying you good, and people need to refresh their browsers. All right, let's go ahead. If y'all haven't already, if y'all having audio issues, just go ahead and refresh your browser, and then we'll dig into it. Nancy Pelosi, everybody is saying that is good. Nancy Pelosi is recently being caught saying that, or is come out, according to sources and according to CNN, is come out to say that Nancy Pelosi is telling Biden that he can't win and that he's dropping out. I think that Biden is going to eventually drop out. Hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and then turn on your notifications. Let's rock, y'all.
3 of the Republican National Convention just wrapped up here in Milwaukee in battleground state Wisconsin. Senator J.D. Vance of Ohio introduced himself to the party and to the nation as Donald Trump's running mate. He accepted his party's nomination formally this evening. There's also news on the other side of the aisle from the Democrats. Sources sharing with CNN details of a recent phone call between President Biden and former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, who remains a very powerful and influential Democrat in Congress. CNN's MJ Lee's joining us from the White House with more. MJ, what can you tell us about this call?
Jake, we are learning that former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and President Biden spoke again recently, and that Pelosi told the president that polling shows that the president cannot defeat Donald Trump and that he could destroy Democrats' chances of winning the House if he were to continue seeking a second term. Now, we are also told by our sources that the president responded by being defensive about the polling, telling Pelosi he has seen the data polling that shows that he can in fact win, and that at one point Pelosi asked Mike Donilon, the president's senior advisor, to get on the line to go over the data. Now, none of our sources said whether in this phone call Nancy Pelosi privately told President Biden that she believes he should drop out of the race, but it's important to note this is the second known conversation now between Nancy Pelosi and President Biden since his debate performance that really shook the party at the end of June. I should also note the White House wouldn't comment on our reporting in this meeting. They said President Biden is the nominee of the party. He plans to win. And a Pelosi spokesperson said Pelosi has been in California since Friday and has not spoken to Biden since. Obviously, Jake, we cannot overstate just how important Nancy Pelosi is to all of this. She has so much sway within the party. She probably has the best pulse on where all of her colleagues are on the Biden situation than probably anybody else. And the big question going forward is, at some point, does she get to a point where she maybe publicly says that she believes that the president shouldn't stay in the race?
I see that Fa Brown is saying that Biden tested positive for COVID, and that's why he's canceling the speech in Las Vegas. Let me see if I can pull that up for you guys really quickly. And see if we can deep dive into that a little bit. This is according to USA Today and CNBC, okay? So not only is all of his constituents continuing to call for his exit from the race, and I got a video that I'm dropping for you guys either tomorrow or this afternoon, depending on if we finish getting it edited or not. It says Biden tests positive for COVID and cancels his speech in Las Vegas. Okay, well, let me ask y'all a question. Do you think that this is him actually testing positive for COVID, or do you think that this is an excuse to get him off the campaign trail because he's not necessarily polling well, and every single interview that he's doing following up and subsequently is being panned, and they're basically saying that he has no chance of winning whatsoever? So we got sources that's saying that Nancy Pelosi is calling for the exit of Biden. And then we also have CNBC and USA Today and every other platform saying that Joe Biden has tested positive for COVID on Wednesday. The White House said, so that was yesterday. The president, who was delivering speeches in Las Vegas, is experiencing mild symptoms. White House Press Secretary Karen Jean-Pierre said in a statement, Biden will be returning to Delaware, where he will self-isolate and will continue to carry out all of his duties full-time during that time. I thought that older people that got COVID was at risk the most for, I hate to say it, and I never wish this on anybody, even people that I don't necessarily care about, at risk, let's just say at risk the most. How about that? It said that he's vaccinated and boosted. Shout out to the boosters. The White House will provide regular updates on the president's status as he continues to carry out full duties of the office while in isolation. Hey, what if this is a play, though? What if the other play, thank you for the super chat, Christopher Mayberry. What if the other play, roll with me here, is that, okay, he's losing all of his faculties. Now, if this happened, remember that you heard it first here on the Millionaire Morning Show. He's losing all of his faculties. He's not really here. He doesn't feel good. COVID has really put him in a difficult space. We know that there's allegedly long-term consequences or long-term issues that people have. A lot of people say that it takes a long time for them to get their taste back, get their smell back. You know, some people say that they never recover, especially the older people. What if this then becomes the springboard to eventually nominate Kamala Harris? And again, we talking in theory, we talking about possibilities, but we don't put anything past anybody because we know that everything is intentional. What if this becomes the springboard? Thank you, Chris Pear. To eventually put them in position to then say, hey, we got the Democratic National Convention coming up. We're not sure if Biden is in the best place or the best space to even be able to advertise. Yeah, hey, listen, we think he could win. We know that previous polls may not have been as accurate and that eventually he became president of the United States of America, or this person has gotten elected even though they were down in the polls. We support Joe. But we don't think that he's the best candidate because he's been knocked off of the campaign trail often. He suspended all of his ads. And y'all know he suspended all of his ads. But when they say that he suspended all of his ads, they say that he suspended his ads because of what happened to Donald Trump. And he wanted to be sensitive to the situation. Now he's canceling speeches. He's been on all of these different interviews. And is this now the springboard to the Democratic National Convention, which Democrats are in shambles? And all of his constituents are saying, listen, we got to get you out of there. But Joe has already stood 10 toes down. He said, listen, I'm not getting out of this race unless I know for a fact that I can't go on and I can't continue to advocate for what is best for this country as far as me being president of the United States of America. What if this is the play? What if in August, when they have the Democratic National Convention, they say that he's having long-term complications and his ability to be able to stay on the campaign trail and win this for the Democrats is the reason why we're now going to nominate Kamala Harris as the potential president of the United States of America on the Democratic side. They say Biden boarded Air Force One in Las Vegas around 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. The White House pool reported the president was not wearing a mask as he boarded the plane. You mean to tell me they weren't out a mask? So Biden got the vid, but he's not wearing a mask as he boarded the plane. He said, good, I feel good, Biden told reporters in response to shouted questions on the airport tarmac. Biden's doctor said the president came down with a runny nose and a non-productive cough. On Wednesday afternoon, he felt okay for the first event of the day, but given that he was not feeling better, point-of-care testing for C-19 was conducted and the results were positive for the virus. Goes on to say, Biden's symptoms remain mild with a normal temperature and respiratory rate of 97 and at a 97% pulse oximetry reading, according to the doctor. We don't even know what that means, but it's okay. We see students over here. The president received the first dose of Paxlovid. The physician said he will be self-isolating at his home in Rehoboth. Biden campaign referred to CNBC to the White House when asked for comment. Biden was scheduled to deliver remarks Wednesday afternoon at the Unidos U.S. annual conference in Las Vegas after an interview with Univision at the original Lindo McCoykin restaurant. So he was out there giving people the vid. He was shaking hands with patrons. Oh, Jesus, he don't even look like he there. He don't even look like he's all there. No way that you're going to sit here and tell me that this is a healthy situation. He don't even look like he there. He looks like a... Come on, man. Hey, y'all, somebody get this man a blankie. Somebody get this man a tissue, a blankie, sit him down. And I'm going to be honest with you. Even though I have compassion for him because he's an older gentleman, all right? From a competition perspective, from a competitive lens, I think it's great that he's staying in a race. Every single day that he stays in a race for the Democratic side, he gives us more and more opportunity to take advantage of the fact that he's out there walking around looking like death warmed over, and he needs to get him a quilt, get him a blanket, get him a blankie, get him some tissue, some hot tea, some cocoa, put some marshmallows in it, Get him some Fruity Pebbles. I love Fruity Pebbles, especially the ones with the marshmallows. Get him some Fruity Pebbles and let that man sit down and let Kamala Harris go ahead and try to run this country into the ground. Let Kamala Harris run this country into the ground. We with it. So they saying he got the vid. Thank you, Fi Brown, for letting me know that in the chat.
All right. MJ Lee, amazing stuff. Jeff Zeleny also has been reporting on the story. Jeff, tell us more about these conversations between former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and President Biden.
Look, Jake, a lot of Democrats have been taking their worries and fears to former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi.
Take the whole
and we have
Democratic
really seen
Party
an evolution
down with
of her
it.
thinking over the last now nearly 3 weeks since that debate. Now, when President Biden said he is going to run, he's not reconsidering, she reopened the door for him, and that allowed some other House Democrats to have conversations with her. So she has been trying to handle this behind the scenes, if you will. But what we are hearing is that it hasn't worked, so they are being slightly more public with this. But she's not alone. Last Saturday, a key meeting in all of this. History may show this to be a pivotal meeting here, depending on what happens. Senator Chuck Schumer, the Senate Majority Leader, traveled to Rehoboth Beach. That's where the president was spending the weekend. He had a private one-on-one meeting with the president, expressing concerns of Senate Democrats as well, that they do not think that they can win and are worried about him winning in November. So, Jake, taking together all of this, this is a different moment here as we hit the 3-week period. As for the president, he's back in Delaware. The campaign tells me tonight he's in this race. He's not changing. And they say he'll be the Democratic nominee. Of course, we'll see about that, Jake.
So, pray for Biden. I know that y'all don't like to do that no more because you don't like to pray for your enemies. Even the word of God says pray for Biden. Listen, we don't want the dude to just be passing out on the campaign trail because, man, we going to get Kamala. At worst, whoever Obama that's probably running the White House right now got to be better than Kamala Harris. Anything and anybody is better than Kamala Harris. Anything and anybody is better than Kamala Harris, all right? Let's continue on with the show. I appreciate y'all for the super chats. Let me read a couple of them because I had a problem switching over from my connection. Chris Mayberry says, my comment on JD was not meant to be drawn out or scrutinized in the chat. I was speaking as in him mentioning it the same way Amber Rose did, but I understand how everyone can take the chat wrong way, dog. Why you apologizing? Bro, don't you know that my chats be savage? Savage. Just because people don't agree or they take it a certain way, you stand 10 toes down on what you said, my guy. Thank you for the super chat. Chris Pear says, yo, Anton just became a member last night. It's going to be an exciting and prosperous experience. It's rock out, strong finish. Shout out to all of the bag chasers. Shout out to all of the Patreon members. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. I appreciate you, big dog. All right, y'all ready to get over to the next thing? All right, D.L. Hughley. Hughley. D.L. Hughley has made the news along with George Clooney. All right. So for those of you that are not familiar, George Clooney wrote an op-ed that basically criticized and said that Biden should drop out of the race. Long story short, should drop out of the race because he has no ability to win. He looks old and he looked bad on the debate stage. Well, that was about a week and a half ago, maybe a week ago. But recently, D.L. Hughley, who I have never, ever been a fan of when it comes to politics and him being a liberal and what it is that he stands for from a political perspective. Now, that does not mean that he's a bad person because I actually, and this is how you know that I'm objective, I actually was on D.L. Hughley's side when it came to what he was dealing with Monique. What he was dealing with when it came to Monique. Monique, mean, nasty, ugly-spirited, came after D.L. Hughley, his family. And I actually, unfortunately, I didn't feel good about it, but I did. I stood 10 toes down and I said, listen, objectively, listening to this thing because it was the hottest thing that was happening at the moment, listening to this conversation, D.L. Hughley is right and Monique is wrong. But when it comes to his ability to be able to pick from a political perspective and his stance and continuing to stand with the Democratic Party and not being objective and criticizing and holding accountable the people that he aligns with, he's wrong. He's off. He's just as wrong, if not worse, than Amanda Seals. I think Amanda Seals is horrible, but D.L. Hughley could quite possibly be up there in the running of the worst people when it comes to their political takes. The only other person that I've seen that I don't see happening no more is T.I. You know what I'm saying? From politics. But this is D.L. Hughley criticizing Clooney after he wrote the op-ed on behalf of Biden. Check it out. Or an interview.
Day by day, there's a bigger reaction across the country about whether or not Biden should be on the presidential ticket. Now Hollywood is weighing in. As we mentioned, George Clooney was urging the party to move on from Biden after the debate, writing in the New York Times, quote, "Our party leaders need to stop telling us that 50 million people didn't see what we just saw. We're also terrified by the prospect of a second Trump term that we've opted to ignore every warning sign."
Whether you like this or not, President Biden has had the legislative agenda that would rival FDR. And so I think that while...
Really? Really? Really, DL? Is this what we doing here in the United States of America? We lying? We lying out here in these streets? Come on, man. Stop, bro. Stop. But we gonna let them rock. We gonna observe this.
People have the right to voice their opinions. They should be rooted in some level of sanity. If you look at where, for instance, if you look at where George W. Bush and John Kerry were at this time in their race in June and July of that year, Kerry was 7 points ahead of him. If you look at where Barack Obama and Mitt Romney were in their race, October 16th, 2.5 weeks before that election, Romney was 4 points ahead of Obama. So, and the thing that those two people have in common is the power of the incumbency. So you have openly people advocating for.
Let me tell you something. He's so wrong, he couldn't be more wrong. One of the things I believe that got the second Bush elected was the fact that we had what they would call a terrorist attack on 9/11. The same day that Fabulous and Jay-Z dropped their albums. I was there. I remember. Jay-Z dropped the album. That was a classic. Fabulous dropped his first album. That was a classic, in my opinion. And I believe that they leveraged, I'm not going to speak on what I believe really happened on 9/11 because I don't believe everything that I've seen on the news. But they leveraged the fear of the American people and the fact that George Bush was staunch when it came to his stance on terrorism and terrorist attacks, even though they never found any weapons of mass destruction. We left a whole bunch of equipment overseas. We made sure that we got every single opportunity from a business perspective in order to be able to leverage that oil and stuff like that. So, neither here nor there. I'm not going to deep dive into my theories on that because I've done extensive research. However, just to speak to D.L. Hughley's point, they leveraged war and fear and terrorism and George Bush's stance when he got on camera and he said that we will not stand for terrorism and we're going to go after them and Saddam Hussein and Osama bin Laden and all of these people. And they leveraged the fear of American people to ultimately get him into office again and get reelected when he was absolutely one of the worst presidents of our time. So a lot of people are not understanding of this. They don't know the full context. Anybody can say anything. But the reality is that it took a major event, a major life event to bring the people together in unity to ultimately elect them to continue to do the thing that was worse for America. We were going through the middle of a recession that got Obama elected in 2008 based off of hope. And he didn't get as much done as he said that he was going to get, even though he had legislative branches, a Democratic majority in the legislative branches, but he didn't get it done. And so as people were coming out of it, they had experience, and this is the Obama campaign for the second term, as people were coming out of it, they had seen a little bit of the recovery from the economy after they had suffered so bad when they got him in office in the first place. The context matters, y'all.
For a president to give up the power of the bully pulpit and the incumbency months before a presidential election, which is ridiculous. Historically, no president has ever gave up incumbency. No party has ever gave up the incumbency of the president and won the election. It's just never happened.
Not gonna win anyway.
What I found, there was an interesting point, and I hear you in the historical references. It gives great context to understand how these numbers can shift. But there was a point in this op-ed, and when he talks about how, and I'll read it here, he's talking about how there was new and upsetting information. he talks about, well, no, we all think Republicans should abandon their nominee now that he's been convicted of 34 felonies. And so I just wonder, from the perspective of the timing aspect of it, did you see anything with respect to President Biden and the power of the incumbency that would give you the same level of concern about Republicans trying to replace their nominee because of felony convictions and Biden's 90 minutes?
I think that I interviewed the president on May 29th. A few weeks before the debate at the White House and on Air Force One. Now, obviously, he's an older man. Obviously, there's no disputing that. But let's be clear. The Democrats should be focusing on what's at stake in terms of what they're running against. The one thing that I didn't hear George Clooney mention was Project 2025. And I think...
Jesus Christ. How many times are we going to have to say this, that this fear tactic, and as intelligent as D.L. Hughley tried to make himself out to be, we know that that has nothing to do with Trump whatsoever. At all. Has nothing to do with Trump whatsoever. That whole thing is a bunch of far-right Republicans that are trying to leverage the visibility that comes with being a Make America Great Again advocate, and trying to use that to continue to energize what it is that they're doing, and then ultimately get more donations into what they got going on. They're using it for visibility, but Trump has already said that he's not a part of it. He's denounced it. He's never been a part of it. There's nothing that has to do with him whatsoever. And so they reach and they ultimately go for straws that have nothing to do with what the Trump campaign is talking about whatsoever. These celebrities, man, y'all got to stop following these people.
I think we have a decidedly different vantage point. If you look at who Project 2025 affects the most, it is communities of color.
Here we go.
It is the people who have less than. Now, if you're a straight white male in this country, you could be disappointed in the election, but it wouldn't have disastrous results. I think that's decidedly a different thing for communities of color. And I think that the vantage point they speak from, I don't think that he speaks for the people that I speak. I speak to millions of people every day on my radio show. And that's the sentiment I hear that is
which is mid as hell, but neither here nor there.
Kind of bantered around. And so I just think the one thing I can say for sure is the reticence that a lot of young black men have with the Democratic Party is the cowardice at every turn, the hand wringing, the fecklessness, and they exhibited it all the time. And it's just a lot to take.
You know, I'm a fan of your show and listen to it all the time. And I'm
Cap.
A little bit more about what you're hearing on that idea of the cowardice, because one of the criticisms I often hear is Democrats eat their own, that there's a circular firing squad.
Absolutely.
That they attempt to have a moral high ground is to their detriment. And yet, there is something to be said about having a moral compass, about having the high ground, and about calling out wrong wherever it may be. But tell me about what you're hearing from people about how they view these last couple weeks.
Well, here's the thing. LBJ had the moral compass. He left. Richard Nixon became president, and that, for black people, became the onslaught of mass incarceration and the war on drugs. It had disastrous consequences for black people. When Donald Trump won, it had disastrous consequences for black people.
Where? Hey, hold on. Come on, y'all. The reaching is Stretch Armstrong long. The reach here is Stretch Armstrong long. Yo, I don't know anybody, even if you don't like Donald Trump, that can say to themselves, hey, listen, from 2016 through 2020, that was implemented through Trump, that they suffered from 2016 through 2020. Man, we were rolling. Bro, I made so much money. I prospered. I was blessed. I built things that I never built before. I ran up bags. We got to places and things and opportunities. And man, it was so much money that was flowing in 2016 through 2020. I don't know one black person will admit and say, I suffered from 2016 through 2020. Stop.
If you look at who suffered the most under those policies, if you look at his COVID reaction, who died the most? So this, for me, is not a whimsical conversation. For me, it's not a conversation about what is uncomfortable.
What
It is what is
policies?
necessary. Look at Project 2025 and tell me for sure. I watched the mass media and no one has interviewed anybody seriously with the fervor about Biden's age that they do about Project 2025. No one. And who does it affect? If they disband or absolve the Department of Education, who does it affect primarily? Environmental rollbacks. Who does it affect primarily?
This is
all the things that are given. If they DEI or if they Black History, who does it affect?
DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Listen, we should have abolished DEI along with affirmative action a long time ago. Don't you know that they also leveraging feminism in order to identify themselves as a minority or a person that is at odds with the whole establishment? The only people that are affected from these policies are white men because you're considered a double minority if you're a woman and you're a woman of color, not even a Black woman specifically. We don't even know what the NAACP do anymore outside of shield for Democrats. We don't even know. Hey, when the last time y'all seen the NAACP do anything for Black people whatsoever? And now they say people of color. What is people of color? Don't y'all know that we all people of color? Literally, this whole country is a melting pot. The whole country is a melting pot now.
Because the truth of the matter is in 2020, it was the Black and brown people that fired Donald Trump.
People. There we go.
More white people voted for him in 2020 than voted for him in 2016. Black and brown people fired him. And as a result of this, we have these draconian measures in Project 2025. And more, rather than Democrats focusing on that, they're focusing on the age of a man. By the time this is over, one thing is for certain, Joe Biden will be older. And Project 2025 will still be the platform that is running behind all.
This is so dumb.
You know, this is one of the
ain't even rooted in honesty. This is foolishness, bro.
criticisms that people have not gone after what are the obvious Achilles heels of one's opponent. And you mentioned that you also interviewed Vice President Harris, I believe, about a month ago as well. And I do want to get your take, given, you know, Project 2025 has more than a few dog whistles, shall we say. And there's also...
I don't even want to keep watching this because this is all foolishness. They spewing something that's not even endorsed by the potential president of the United States of America at all. He don't got nothing to do with this man. Who is this shield? This is what I'm saying. This is being used as false information to try to get y'all scared. And most people don't even know what it is. I read it. I broke it down literally on the Millionaire Morning Show. Also broke down the person that I'm gonna try to get the guy on here. I'm gonna work my hardest to try to get the guy on here and interview him. I had some other interviews lined up, but they wound up scaring out. I don't want to say who they are, but they wound up chickening out as a result of it. But
overt statements that are now being made. I said more than overt dog whistles, I'm saying, in terms of thinking about it. And there are also moments when people are using race and having those discussions to criticize the Vice President of the United States. And I want to get your take on something that she's recently been facing. Well, been facing for quite some time, but especially now that she's being named as possibly someone to top a ticket. Listen to what the former Trump official, Sebastian Gorka, had the nerve to say about her.
She's a DEI hire, right? She's a woman. She's colored, therefore she's got to be good. Yeah. And at least her brain doesn't literally freeze in mid-sentence.
Now, I don't know if you can see who's on that screen, but one of them on the right, I believe, is Matt Whitaker, who is the former acting attorney general of the United States with that smile on his face. What do you make of these attacks?
It's an interesting thing. 17 senators gone on to become president. She was one of them. She's one of those, vice president. Very few people, she's been an attorney general of the largest, most populous, most wealthy state in the country.
Horrible
so
person.
There is this notion,
listen, I dislike Kamala Harris probably more than I dislike Hillary Clinton. I dislike Kamala Harris more than I dislike Hillary Clinton. Emails and all. I absolutely, positively think that this woman is one of the fakest hot sauce in a person all. Hot sauce in a person all. Listen, if you put a gun to my head and you said you got two different people to choose between, Kamala Harris and Hillary Clinton, I would say pull the trigger, big dog. Take me out. Take me out. Just take me out. If you put a gun to my head and said, Kamala Harris or Hillary Clinton, just pull the trigger, because I'm not choosing between the two. That's how much I don't think that she makes sense in any capacity. She has failed miserably in her role as the border czar and as the person that is supposed to be the vice president of the United States of America. And none of that could be any more on display but then her foolishness on Drew Barrymore's show, or her traveling to these African countries to advocate for something that they didn't want as far as this alphabet community nonsense. Pull the trigger. Listen, just take me out. If I got to live through that, hey, family, y'all ready to all just go? We just going to all go to the upper room. Just take me out. Take me out. Throw away the key. Take me out, bro.
America has been more damaged by GCI than DEI. The greedy, corrupt, incompetent white men have caused...
Now it's the white men again. Now it's white men. Look, get this dude off my screen. Can't even believe that I defended him against Monique. Absolutely disgusts me. Absolutely disgusts me. Billy Ray Valentine says Bloomberg would be the play. He has money but independent. Shout out to Billy Ray Valentine. Says Hardhead says, shout out to you, big dog. I was trying to open a brokerage account with Fidelity. Found out I have $11,000 in my 401k from my previous job. I said I need that. Do not do an early withdrawal from your 401k. Under no circumstance do you do an early withdrawal from your 401k. You do it, I'm going to slap you. Get your hand off of that button. Get your hand off that button. Do not do an early withdrawal. You are going to get hit with so many taxes and penalties. It is going to absolutely, positively destroy your portfolio. Leave that money in there, reallocate it, continue to contribute to it, and don't do an early withdrawal under no circumstance. You leave that money in there, all right? Mr. Joe says, when blacks can't stand on something, they resort to the black trope, always. Eric Harris in the building says, how much DL getting paid? Seriously. I think he actually believed this, seriously. He been doing it for so long. Chase Barnes says, happy Thursday, AD. And peeps, DL, brother, we don't believe you. You need more people. All the gaslighting and ad hominem attacks, to use your word, AD, is just egregious. Egregious. It is egregious. I agree just with you. Anyways, make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. If you have not already, make sure that you hit the Patreon. The link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. We going to 8,200 members inside of the Patreon. Let's run it up. Let's get to it, y'all. Let's get to it. So this final part of the show, I have not done a review video that I can remember of somebody speaking about money specifically outside of the young man that was talking about credit cards. So y'all know that was what it was, and so we gonna do what we do, and we gonna get to it. But this young man right here is saying that $30 an hour is the new poor. Before we get into the video, how many of you guys actually agree with that? How many of you guys absolutely agree with it? That 33, 0. I remember when I was younger, I used to want to make $30 an hour. Actually, it was $32 an hour. Yeah, because that's what they was making inside of the plants. Ford and Chrysler and GM here in Detroit. Boy, listen, by the time we came along, you had to know somebody, because the old heads, the generation before me, the Xers and the Boomers, they was just able to come up to Detroit and get a job. Just get a job working on the line. You could bring your family out of poverty, buy a home, all of this stuff, right? But now, by the time that I came up, because I was born in 82, graduated in 2000, I was 18, I just needed somebody to get me in. Just get me in. Just get me in. Just get me in. I want to make up to $32 an hour, and I can go and get me a Cadillac. Ooh-wee. STS or a DTS with the North Star engine in it. Some of y'all not familiar with it. I'm about to start a whole new channel. I'm about to do a car channel. I'm about to do a car channel. Yes, I am. North Star engine. It used to be knocking a little bit. They had some problems with the knocking, but if you had a North Star engine in your car, it was a shh. You skip right over to CTS, You get you a SLS or the STS, or you get you the DTS, the big dog, holla at me. Holla at me. I wanted a Lincoln. Like the old heads. All of them dudes that was in the plant, making sure that they had their little side chicks. They couldn't retire because they had babies on the side that they had to keep paying child support for. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's figure it out. Y'all.
What's up, guys? I'm fucking tired. I don't know if you can tell, I just got back from the gym.
Okay. Gym life. I like it.
Fuck. I'm like literally like winded. I thought I'd just seen something.
Let me give him some credit before we get into the video, because I do not know what he's going to say, but I've been having this inside of my little thing for a long time. His name is LD. His name is LD. If we clip this up, we're going to put a link to his channel in the description, because LD is very, very generic. As of the recording of this video, of this live stream, he has 1,000 subscribers. Let me give a round of applause for the hustlers. Give a round of applause for the hustlers. He got 1,000 subscribers. Unfortunately, LD for us meant learning disabilities back in the day, but he seems like a pretty solid brother. On top of it, he can communicate effectively. I could tell right away. Elim, I'm definitely going to be reading that super chat shortly. But let's see what he got to say, y'all.
Trying to get it across the street. But
what's up with everybody recording in their cars? I don't understand that.
Yeah, nah, I got some news to tell you guys. I'm pretty sure almost every... That's weird, my video cut out. I was gonna say, I got some unfortunate news to share with you all, but I'm pretty sure almost every working American knew this already, but $20 an hour, and honestly anywhere from $20 to $30 an hour is the new minimum, is like the new minimum wages. That's like the new broke. Realistically, if you're making anything under $20 an hour and you're over the age of 20, 21, how the fuck are you even buying food, dude? Like,
do y'all think that that's true? Maybe I'm so out of touch, right? Maybe I've been so out of touch for so long that I'm not aware. $20 to $30 an hour as a 20-year-old is crazy. What state do you live in? Bro, if you're making $30 an hour and you get overtime, don't you know that you can make over $100,000 a year and you in your 20s? How? Is that true? Honestly, I believe that it's lifestyle. A lot of y'all are trying to keep up with the Joneses. A lot of y'all have embraced this cultural norm that you got to go over here and live in these big cities, pay these big rents, have these high car notes, have leather seats in your car. You don't want to do nothing. You don't want to start building, and y'all starting to pay all of these taxes, and y'all live in these high tax cities. That's the reason why y'all feel like y'all need to make $50 an hour. You don't have to make $50 an hour when you're in your 20s in order to be able to thrive at all.
I make $26.98 an hour, and I mean, don't get me wrong, it's let
me do some calculation.
Decent money. I don't think it's, I think it's just barely decent money. If I was around way back when, I'd say that was probably good for the time. Like if you were making 20 something an hour back in like 2012 even, you'd be straight. Like you'd be able to not only live comfortably, but you'd be able to, like, you know, go out on vacation, you know, do like normal.
Don't y'all know that 2012, we was just now really starting to come out of the recession, that people was still broke. 2012 was basically starting to come out of the reset that had happened during the recession. Everybody was broke in 2012. You can't compare it. See, this is one of the benefits of being outside. Let me hear what he got to say.
Not normal shit, because that's, not everybody can afford to do that. So I guess it's not normal, but like shit that you want to do, you want to live. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not saying with $20 an hour, you can't live comfortably, okay? You can just barely get by. What do I mean by that? If you don't have a car, like car payment or car insurance, $20 an hour, you're caking. You're straight. Especially like if you live in a city, public transportation, do all that. If you have a car note, car insurance, rent, utilities, internet, phone bill, $20 an hour, $20 to $30 an hour is not gonna cut it, bro. Especially if you have a fucking family. Like when I see some people on my job, and I'm just like, They're like, and we make the same amount, and they're taking care of kids, grandkids, and paying mortgages and shit like that. I'm like, how the fuck did y'all sustain off this money? Like, yeah, you could be decent, but like, I want.
At $30 an hour, only working 40 hours, no overtime whatsoever, is the equivalent of about $62,000, $63,000 a year. Okay, the median household income is between $67,000 and $72,000 a year, meaning that's all people combined inside of the household. Y'all got lifestyle problems. Y'all got lifestyle problems. I remember when I said that $40,000, $50,000 a year trying to raise a family of four. A couple years ago, y'all said that I was crazy, insane, and I was an elitist. Y'all said that I was crazy, insane, and that I was an elitist. Now, y'all sitting here saying that I was right. But I'm telling you, you just got lifestyle problems. You don't need a car note. You don't have to pay car insurance. You don't have to have a phone that you're making payments on. If you're making payments on your phone, you need to reduce the amount of money that you're paying for your phone. Your phone bill shouldn't be that high. Your internet really ain't that much. You need to practice group economics. If you're 20 years old, you don't need to be living by yourself. I don't know how many times I got to say this. You could reduce the amount of money that you're paying, and you basically be running up a bag if you already have a car that's paid for, pay cash for a hoopty, or take public transportation. A lot of people live in cities where they can live, work, and play all in the same area, but you don't want to do that. Stay home. Stop trying to run out and go and get a bunch of student loan payments. Y'all start getting all of these payments, and then it runs up your lifestyle, and it ruins what you got going on.
I want to actually like live. I got shit I want to do. You know what I'm saying? Like,
see, that's why he got stuff.
That's not enough, realistically speaking. Like, I remember when I was a kid back in high school and shit like that. I was like, damn, making $25 an hour, $23 an hour, you straight. How wrong was I? And it's crazy because like, it sounds like such a big difference from $17 an hour. That's like minimum wage where I live at, to 26 to 26, 27 that I make now. $10 more, and words 17 to 27. That's a big fucking gap, right? But when you really look at the paycheck and you add up, it's like, it's really not. You're getting extra, okay, let's say you're getting extra $80. I mean, cool. That's gas. That's one full tank of gas for my car. On terms of that week, and from how much I've earned more than someone making 17 an hour, it really.
That's why these immigrants is gonna come in here and mop y'all up. These immigrants is gonna come in here and they're gonna mop y'all up. They're gonna take y'all jobs. They're gonna run y'all up out of there because y'all think that it's important for your employer to support your lifestyle instead of for you to continue to support what you got going on and adjust your lifestyle accordingly so that you can then pull yourself out. And you're not supposed to be making $120,000 a year when you're 20 years old. What are y'all on, man?
Really? Well, actually, no, I'm sorry. I had horrible math. That would be an extra, well, because $10 times 40, because, you know, you got to add the extra because you work 40 hours. $400. When you put it in perspective like that for the week,
think about what you're saying.
I don't know. Maybe it's because I worked in a casino. So, like, my brain is very desensitized.
How you going to work in a casino and you don't know how to...
small quantities of money, realistically, because, like, I've seen $10,000 go in the snap of a finger. If you think I'm bullshit and then you never stepped foot in a casino before, I've seen big money go fast. Like it never would. Like it was like $5. People spending 50 grand like it was $500. Like I don't know, but it's some people be like, well, that wasn't your money. How would you get you said? Well, I was there for 4.5 years and constantly dealing with it. It loses value after a while. You see people, the ugly things people will do for the money while you're working, and kind of you're just like, dude, fuck this shit. So. Maybe that's why I'm like $20 on 20-something an hour isn't good enough. But let me lead this into the real point that I really want to discuss, and that's, bro, I swear my job played me, bro. When I get home, I'm gonna record a whole nother video just so y'all can see this because, all right, I make $26.98 an hour, right? I last week, because it gets confusing, because last week I had 2 double days. and a holiday day, and I think a holiday and a half or some shit like that.
You pay
some
crazy
shit, 'cause
taxes.
I work 4th of July, which is a holiday, and then how I think how my job does it is if you work like the 4th of July is you get off and you get the holiday pay for not coming in. But if you volunteer to work that day, you get extra holiday pay on top of that day already getting.
So usually it's double time, or depending on if you're in the planet, it could be triple time. But holidays is double time. Anything over 40 hours is time and a half. So you basically adding 50% on your paycheck, or you doubling your paycheck. If you make it $27 an hour and you're working holiday pay and you're getting double time, depending on if that's what he's saying, you're basically making the equivalent of about $54 an hour on top of the original monies that you were supposed to be making.
Paid for holiday pay, you know what I'm saying? So it's like a double day. I worked a whole month straight. But last week specifically, even though I was just rephrasing it, I worked 7 days straight. I made less last week working more hours than I did the week before, which completely mind boggles me. Like, I'm like looking at my pay stub. I'm like, did they not pay me right? Like, and that's the fucked up part I'm gonna get back next to my job. It's like, let that have been one of the higher ups at my job that got their salaries fucked up. That wouldn't even be in the equation.
I don't even know what he's
whoever
saying
does,
right now,
like,
bro.
Their pay system or whatever, I don't know if it's computer automated or whatever.
I don't think that he really knows what he's talking about. Honestly, I genuinely am confused. I'm confused as to what he's saying. I know that they take more in taxes, but they take more in taxes as you continue to elevate through the tax brackets.
But how the regular employees get paid, there's so many frequent fuck ups when it comes to paychecks that the shit is ridiculous. Because like there's no way that I worked damn near 60 something hours last week and got paid less than when I worked 55 hours or something. I'm like, there's no way. Like this Friday I should at least got paid like $1,600 from the hours I worked last week. I got paid only $1,200, but the week before that, I worked less hours and brought home $1,358. I'm like, that don't fucking add up. I'll wait till I get home. I'm gonna make a video and I'm gonna try to go over it and show you guys. But like, realistically, I'm not gonna just let this be straight. If that is right and they actually didn't fuck up, which I'm pretty sure they fucked up and they didn't give me a double day, $26.98, 60 hours, 60 something hours. I've worked more.
Okay, so he's venting. Now he's venting because you're right, because I think he probably got shorted. They probably didn't pay him his double time. He didn't look at his paycheck. And so he got to wait until the next pay period in order for them to correct it. And so he's venting. Okay, so you might be just venting.
I've worked 72 hours, 75, 77 hours in a week before, and you're only bringing home $1,200 fucking dollars. We're fucked. Point blank, period. I know the math, and that's how the math be mathin', but fuck, bro.
You just cuss a lot. Just because you curse a lot does not mean that that's good content.
When I'm looking at $1,200, like you can't even wipe your ass with $1,200, bro. You go to the grocery store, you fill up your cart, that right there is already like half of that paycheck gone in groceries. So it's like, well, fuck, didn't even mention, got car insurance, didn't even mention I got family members that need some money. Like, shit is ridiculous. I know it's not my fault, it's not your fault, it's not my boss's fault. Hell, it's no one's fault. It's just the way the world is going right now. And we have to adapt, right? What that means is that I have to add more value to my skill set in my life to make myself worth the value of $50, $60, $70 an hour. You know what I'm saying? And not everybody thinks about it like that. I know there's gonna be people that probably already clicked off this video like, look at this lazy ass nigga. He a bum. He's complaining about working and all that. Nigga, I ain't never said I had a problem with working. I like to work. What the fuck? Working man gets paid.
Mad at?
However, I like shit. Well, life ain't fair, but I like to be properly compensated, and I feel like I have a higher value to myself than just $26.98 an hour. So that's what I'm adding to myself now, and I just want that to be. I want my experience to be a reminder for all of you watching that $20 an hour really, really isn't that much. Got it.
I think that it's a lifestyle problem for a lot of people. Nobody told you that you didn't work hard, big dog. You got to get out of your femininity with regard to that. It's a lifestyle problem for a lot of people. He's talking about he got to take care of and give money over to family members. He got to put some gas in his car and all of that. This is all lifestyle problem. It sounds like he venting. I hope that he feels better and that everything gets worked out with his paycheck so that he doesn't lash out at people. But a lot of times it is a lifestyle problem for a lot of people, and people are not taking that into consideration. God bless you, big dog. Again, if y'all want to go over to his channel and check him out, LD, I always like to give credit to content creators, regardless of whether or not I agree with them or not. Let me read some of these super chats, and then I'm going to get y'all up out of here for the day. Elam says, the U.S. is made for married couples, $30 an hour times 2 is $120,000 a year. Shout out to Elam. I appreciate you. Lamar H says, what up, Anton? Truthfully, no matter how much you make, if your spending is terrible, you will always feel broke. That's a fact. I know people that make a lot of money and they still be acting broke out here in these streets. You know what I'm saying? Donnie Holmes. Thank you, Donnie Holmes, for holding me down. P. Shank says, good morning, Mr. Anton Daniels and the Millionaire Morning Show. Shout out to my girl, P. Shank. Love you, baby. Jarquavius Smith says, look at this car. Aunt, my man's got the leather interior with the peanut butter color. But it ain't enough. You know what I'm saying? Tech Coach Ralph says they argue with you like crazy for 40. Didn't they argue with me? Oh, man, I wonder where all of those people are. They ain't going to admit it the same way that they ain't going to admit that they supported Black Lives Matter. Dejan Chen says stuff is a lot more expensive than the 90s. Okay. Latrell says if he's working less than 60 hours a week, then we don't need to have this discussion. Lack of money is a lack of activity. I don't think that he's working less money. I think that he just don't know how to manage his money effectively. Is Coco Fit? Shout out to Coco Fit in the building. Says, Anton, please check your Instagram DMs for a YouTube business opportunity. God bless. Facts. Hey, send it to me in an email. AntonDaniels413@gmail.com. AntonDaniels413@gmail.com. I do all my business through email, but I will try to check my DMs. Thank you, love. I appreciate you. Classy Beats in the building says, that's L. Cole, not... Shout out to Classy Beats. I appreciate you. Brittany! 20 years ago, I came home from IU, and 6 months later, I started building tires. Top pay was 32. I was blowing all of that. Today, I understand my money, and we 40 plus at the plant, never paid for insurance, and the benefits are great. That means you appreciate the opportunity that's in front of you. Facts. I rock with that. Saeed Mack says, just for the campaign fund, Councilman, love to see the Chasers. Love to the Chasers. Shout out to the Chasers. Hey, again, make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Also, Tiege Hanley, 40% off your first order plus 20% off for life. That's the Tiege pack. Ladies, get it for the fellas. Fellas, don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. And after hours tonight. So I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I'm going to holler at y'all later. I'm about to go jump into a meeting so I can work some extra hours. You know what I'm saying? Peace.